Hello and welcome to Being Anxiety Free. Nice, right? My name is Emma Upton and I'm going to be spinning the tea on how an analytical, overthinking, overdramatic brain actually gets to be anxiety free. Without anxiety, we get to live who we're here to be, what we're here to do, and then our destiny gets to flow through. Now, if you don't believe this, but you really want to, then this is probably the perfect podcast for you. There is more than this. Let's go! Hello and welcome to episode 10. And I want to talk about when it feels like we haven't got the time, the energy, the motivation to overcome anxiety. We are people who are here for something so much bigger than us. We are here for something so much more. We are busy creating our lives. We understand that there is a lot to do. There's a lot to navigate. We understand that taking care of ourselves, of our health, of our families, whilst co-creating a business, whilst co-creating with the universe, we are people that are here to hold a lot. We are people that are here to navigate a lot. And it is a terrifying mind trick of the conscious brain. Because remember, the conscious brain is always seeking out sneaky ways to be like, hee, I'm going to keep your life exactly the same. A very sneaky back channel that the conscious brain uses is to go around being like, oh, let's just do this next level. Let's just get these next results. Let's just do this thing. And then when I make it here, wherever it is, when I make it to this space, place, that's when I will make sure I'm enjoying the process. That's when I'll make sure that I feel lit up every day. That's when I'll get up at 5 a.m. That's when I'll prioritize my mindset, which allows me to prioritize my health and weight and nutrition and all of those things. Like, I will do it when we have to recognize that we are holding a lot more than normal people. We're not normal. We're doing a lot. And we have to tap into when we're recognizing that we are actually self-sabotaging ourselves and keeping ourselves stuck on this level, on this playing field, when we're here for so much more. I think what I am so passionate about in this work is being able to understand the levels that we work on. And we want to understand it consciously because we work and we live through this world through the conscious brain. So I hope that I'm able to strip it down in such a way that I can make the nonsensical it kind of make sense, because that's what the conscious brain needs. And I call it an entry-level access point. My mission is to give the conscious brain enough meat on that bone to keep chewing at it, because it's through that chewing process of being like, what is it, that we're able to then break through and be like, oh my God, I don't need it to make sense. Like, it just is, I've experienced it. So that entry-level access point can only come when the conscious brain is like, I want to know more. Like, I might not understand. I've just been on a call with my mentor and like what we're talking about. I'm like, I don't, like, it's here. I know it's here. It's in my conscious brain. I need the depth to come through, but right now I don't know how to. But what the formula does, and by creating this sensory piggyback hack system, we're able to take it beyond the conscious brain. So if you're identifying here with what I'm saying, you're saying, I know I'm here for more. I know my mission here is big. I am driven. I'm creating something so much bigger than me. I am also a human trying to navigate, like, just showing up in the world, which is a lot most days. And I can feel myself pushing that edge off, prioritizing, working on what I know is sitting underneath it all. I kind of feel like I'm on this hamster wheel, and that if I take a foot off, it's going to go. If we can identify with that, what the work is to get into the unconscious. So we work on 3 levels. That's the conscious brain being like, yeah, I know, I kind of know I need to do it, but we don't want to sit for like an hour a week. I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to sit about it. I don't want to talk about it. I've got stuff to do. I'm here to move. I'm here to make big things. So know that isn't necessary. What is necessary is realizing what lies in our unconscious. So if we look at it as stacking systems, we've got the conscious brain and we can think it. If we can think it, it's in the conscious brain. Then we've got the unconscious. That's the space and the place where everything that we've ever existed through lives. Some of it is really deeply rooted in there because it's happened to us so many times. It's the same beliefs, it's the same stories, it's the same reoccurring stuff, just sandwiched into that space there. Sometimes it's not so well developed. It's happened a couple of times and it's not really like we can let go of it. But whatever our experience in life is, it lives in this unconscious space. And then below that, at the depth, we have the subconscious. We have the universal energy space. We have the space in quantum physics that makes no sense, where the scientist just goes, doesn't really make sense. So we're going to call it this word and we're just going to pretend it doesn't exist because it doesn't fall into anything. That space is what we want to gain access to. It lives outside of the conscious mind, but the way we get access to it is through the unconscious. You can't access it without moving through that space. Now, what traditional therapy tries to do, horribly, in my opinion, but I'm just one person, but oh my gosh, is it tries to take a pneumatic drill to that space where all those stories and beliefs are, and like talk about it and let's go into it and let's see the depths of it and let's like make everything squirm around it to release it. That ain't it. I mean, you might be an exception. You might be there being like, oh my God, no, therapy has not changed my life, transformed me into something unrecognizable, where there is a power inside me that is so lit up that I just feel on fire every morning when I wake up. Like, I want that. That's the results that I want. So not like, therapy's made me better, like that. I haven't experienced that. I haven't experienced anybody coming into my world with that, but they wouldn't. So maybe those people do exist. If that's you, let me know. But the rest of us are like, no, I don't want to do that. What we want to do is create an access point between that subconscious space where all answers lie. The coding, the genetic coding of your DNA is so unique. And the answers to everything lie within that space. When you are in that space, you are one with everything, and everything just becomes absolute and obvious and like, oh my God, it's this. To enable us to gain access to that space through the unconscious, it isn't the pneumatic drill. What it actually is going about our life and realizing and recognizing like, oh, this isn't working for me. Because heightened awareness is key. So when we can start to go into our world having this heightened awareness around like, oh, the way I am approaching this situation isn't working. Now, I don't know how else to approach it because I have this sandwich. For me, it's like this deep. I have this sandwich that's stopping me accessing what is absolute for me and how I get to go about this. I've got this stack in the way of it, and the thought of getting a pneumatic drill and going through that makes me want to vomit. I don't want to. That's too much. I am building a business. I am trying to live my life like I do. I don't want to carve time in my life to do that. What I want to make that connection. So that awareness is key. Now, when we're heightening our awareness using sensory stimulants, you will see me like living my life through colors, through smells, through textures, through tastes. When we are heightening our awareness and we are piggyback hacking something onto that, what we are doing is saying a message to our brain of like, I'm becoming aware of this. I'm heightening this awareness. We are making space in that unconscious every time we do that. So I spend my life, I don't sit down for hours. I did for a while, like journal for hours on end and like doing the tradition. It didn't work. I spend my life in pause thoughts. That's the philosophy that I use. I go about my life with this. I was looking for my phone. I'm literally talking on it. On my screensaver on my phone, I have the 7 colors laid out. And before I go to look at my phone, which I do so many times a day, it's just not funny. It's there. It is that sensory reminder of like, oh, where's my brain right now? Is it somewhere I want it to be? Or is it being a dick? Usually it's being a dick somewhere that's unhelpful. I'm like, oh, cool. How can I bring my awareness back to this moment? I'm constantly, that's why I literally look like a rainbow. That's why my coffee mug and my tea mug is a narwhal unicorn, because I am constantly submerging myself. Today is Monkey Mind Monday. I have my mints in my tin. They are literally here. It's green. I am submerging myself with the experience of being a living, breathing embodiment of awareness. And through this heightened, and now your brain now might be saying like, oh, Emma, that sounds like a lot. You don't have, you take as little or as much as you want to. Some people have like a wristband that they wear. One of my clients made me this bracelet and it's got all the colours of it. It's genius, because I'm just like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, what colour is it? So where's my focus today? Oh, cool. Is my brain being a dick around that one area? Usually, yes. And I'm interrupting it in those moments. I'm constantly forming this breaker of I don't want to think that way around that anymore. Not, oh my God, this thing, my brain's thinking about this thing right now. Oh, it's a lot. Oh, it's because it's linked to this traumatic thing that happened to me when I was 2. And then that's where the brain wants to go, but I refuse. That doesn't work for me. And maybe if you've got a brain similar to me and you've got a life mission that's so much bigger than you haven't got time to be dilly-dallying around and all that trudge. It's like, oh, my brain's there. Is that helpful? No. So let's create that sensory hack connection of saying no. Every time we do that, that sandwich of stuff that's in the way of the subconscious, of connecting down to that subconscious, to your conscious brain, so you get those thoughts, you get those ideas, like, oh my God, I've wanted to do that. This is a really easy way to do it. You form that connection between those two things, and then it fits together. And you, in the process of awareness, it's like you're weeding out everything. I call it static because we connect to the universe. It's almost like an antennae. We connect to the universe through this energy. When the energy moves through us and through there, we're able to connect like this antennae to the universe, and we attract everything that we are, and we project out into the universe everything we are, and there's this beautiful co-creation. That is like static in the way of this. And what we want to do is we want to do that and siphon out all the static that's in the way. What actually allows us to move through that space is by going, oh my God, my brain is somewhere that's not helping me. What's a different way that I can heighten my awareness around how unhelpful that is and switch out of it? I don't want to be there anymore. And I don't want to lament in it, and I don't want to figure it out. I just want to switch out of it, and I want to find as many opportunities to just be like, no, throughout my day, throughout my life. I'm here, you are here with a big mission. You have not got time, well, maybe you have, but to sit down and lament and think and understand doesn't help. And I think we can gain evidence for this as to our own experience so far. How much time do we dedicate to our thoughts? How much time do we dedicate to trying to figure out our thoughts? Those of you that are watching this here, those of you that are watching it on the replay in the podcast, how have you been to therapy? Have you been to talk therapy? How different is your life? Is it astronomically different? Is it, I can't believe this gets to be my life different? Because if it's not that, my take on this is, then it's not worth my time. Now, we can't get confused here. It doesn't, it doesn't happen in a moment. It does happen in a moment. A therapist once told somebody that I love very dearly, however many years it is after the trauma that happened to you, it will take you that many years to get back to that ground zero. That's not true. It lifts, it happens. That awareness is heightened in one moment. It's like a switch. How quickly that moment comes is determined by how willing we are to let it go. And we might be willing consciously to let it go. There's so many things that I'm like, I'm done with that now. Thank you. I see you. I release you. And my body and the unconscious is like, no. But it can happen in a moment. And that moment can happen the moment that you recognize that that's an unhelpful brain pattern. I don't want it anymore. And it could be released. Or it might take a minute. And one isn't better than the other. But what I'm getting at is life doesn't need to be marginally better for that to be proof that something's working. Sometimes, and this is really acutely true for me, especially now I'm seeing the compound effect of doing this work with the sensory stimulants so often, results get to be really instant and really dramatic. I think we're fed the mantra of, oh no, because healing takes time and it's going to be patience is huge. The levels of patience that I have had to learn for myself. This sounds very contradictory, but the levels of patience that I have had to learn for myself are so vast. And yet I hold this knowing that I'm going to release the things that are in my unconscious and in the way of me creating that conscious to subconscious connection that is going to allow me to move my life and my business to the next level. They can be released in a moment. And that excites me. And yet I can hold the energy of, but maybe it won't be in this moment. But when that moment comes, it's going to release and it's going to be transformative in that moment. And that moment might be now, it might be in a minute, it might be in a day, it might be in a month. Like, I don't know, but I know that transformative energy is there and it can happen at any point when we are present and we are using our life as an experience for awakening. When we are present and we are using our everyday situations to be checking in 1 hour a week of talking about things and trying to understand them. That ain't it. You and I, we don't have time for that either. We're making big things. Our time and our energy is precious, so we want to use it in the spaces and places. When we do the mindset work and we do it alongside our life and we're checking in as many moments of as many days as we possibly can, we're getting transformations, and they could be tiny, they could be huge, and they stack and they stack and they stack. I've been doing this work now for a couple of years and I can't believe how they stack and how they compound in this way. So when we're doing, don't think that being free from anxiety needs to be dedicating hours upon hours of your life to understanding anxiety and understanding why you've got it, and understand, like, for me, it's not that. It's understanding that there is this inner power that I get to awaken, and the more I choose to awaken it in as many opportunities as I possibly can, the more space I make in that unconscious, and the more space that is in that unconscious allows that connection between the conscious and the subconscious. And when that is flowing through, those ideas, those reasons for being, the coding of my existence, that gets to come out into the world in the most unique and special ways. And I am free, and we get to be free. The idea of being free from anxiety a couple of years ago would have terrified me. Sitting here now, being able to say those words and feeling excited about it, it feels like night and day. But it is accessible to us. So if you feel like you are somebody that doesn't resonate with the actively sitting into figuring out anxiety, maybe doing it a different way is what you're inspired into. This is what I'm going to be sharing throughout my journey on the podcast. This is what I'm going to be sharing on my Instagram, More Than This by Emma Upton. This is the work I want to bring to the world. There is so much more than this, and we get to access it in ways that make complete sense to the conscious brain because we keep it on board. We get to tap into that energy that makes no sense, but when we tap into that space, everything is possible, including being anxiety free, being the person that we're here to be, so that our work gets to flow through, and then we create the real life magic. Thank you for being here. Happy Mind on Mute Monday, everybody. Wear your greens, have your mints. Let's create a sensory experience where we're watching what Bob, it's my plant, that little guy up there in the top right corner, what he's up to, and stop him in his tracks.